Hi, Amy Taylor here, your Wi-Fi Live, and today's video I wanted to discuss what I think is quite a common mindset challenge that a lot of people going into business for themselves or wanting to go into business for themselves, or maybe they already are in business for themselves and still in grind mode trying to get some cash flow coming in, struggle with. And it's also something that comes up quite frequently when it comes to times of year on both sides of the Atlantic recently, where we've been having political discussions and elections coming up. We had it in the UK earlier this year, and it's big in the States at the moment. And that is this mindset that there's a lack of abundance for everybody to succeed or do well in society. And I think it's a competitive mindset that so many people need to overcome because it's just not going to serve them. So I've listened to a few podcasts on this recently, and I, for one, need to have very tangible, practical examples to be able to visualize, to put this kind of thing into context. So I just thought I'd share something that I came across recently. So I'm connected to lots of people on Facebook, on my Facebook page and my personal profile, and lots of people that are either trying to get into business for themselves or already have. And it shocks me when at these political times of year, you get people sort of announcing that it's so wrong that the top 5% or the top 1% have got so much wealth that it's not fair on everybody else, and that they pay less tax. And my argument to that is always that, well, they might pay a lesser percentage of tax, but if you look at it in dollars or pounds or whatever currency you work in, contributed to a society as a result of being in business, it's a hell of a lot more than any of us who go and work in a job and pay tax through PAYE or whatever you might call it where you are, contribute. So that's something I just don't tolerate anymore, and I have to point it out to people when they get on their little high horses during political times. It's like, well, if you're going into business for yourself and you want to be a so-called entrepreneur, you shouldn't really care what the system is telling you, because you're out for yourself and you're going to look after yourself and you're not going to rely on the state. So that argument's kind of redundant to me. But I understand it's something that's perfectly human to struggle with when you see somebody else doing well, especially if it's in a niche or an industry or a market that you're trying to break into, and to not be happy for them because you're simply maybe a bit jealous or just a bit resentful that they're doing well and why aren't you? And that is a mindset that's going to stop people going out there and producing or creating their own products or services or businesses because they think that there's already someone doing it, so I'm not going to bother. And particularly in the online world, people, I've noticed some of our students and some other business owners out there, they seem to think that there's a lack or a scarcity of customers out there online. And it's just mental. It's crazy. There is plenty of abundance out there. But I know that the word abundance is often associated with law of attraction and quite high level spiritual stuff, meditation, that kind of thing. And I know that a while ago, I didn't have such an appreciation for that, and I needed it put into much more practical terms. So I'm going to share something with you that I heard recently that's helped me visualize it, and certainly helped me come to a point where I'm genuinely happy for other people when I see them doing well now. And I think that is genuinely a place you need to come from if you want to do well. It just does not serve you to be competitive and come from a scarcity mindset. So it was actually a podcast called The Freedom Fast Lane by a guy called Ryan Moran, who I love. I think he's great. He's a huge success on Amazon. So if you're someone who's going into Amazon selling, it might be worth checking him out if you haven't already. And he was talking about visualizing, if we're talking in a financial sense, but you could put it in a similar visualization for other things, in terms of maybe internet traffic if you're trying to generate sales online. And he said, imagine your floor filling 3 foot deep with dollar bills or pound notes or whatever currency you work in, and that every time you scoop some up, it fills up again. And so if that were the case and you knew that there was no shortage and it's magically just going to refill itself, you wouldn't care who came in and filled up their bag, and you'd invite your mates round and say, fill your boots, everybody go for it. You'd want people to come round and take so that everybody's doing well. So that was a really good way of visualizing it. And it actually reminded me of a cartoon I used to watch when I was a kid, DuckTales. I don't know if you had it where you are. And Scrooge McDuck would dive into his big money bin and swim around in the opening credits. And it's that kind of picture that helped put it into a good, tangible, physical context to me. But it's also I think people, it's natural to look at other people and see that they're doing well, but what people forget is that if we had a society where all the wealth and all the money went into one pot and we just split it out evenly, and this is where the political thing comes in when debates are going on or elections are coming up, it just wouldn't work. We'd have the Hunger Games on our hands if all the wealth and all the opportunity and everything was put into one pot and go, everyone just have it evenly. It just wouldn't work. We need producers. We need people that are at different points in the wealth scale. And it's up to you to choose where you're going to sit on that scale. Are you going to go out there and produce something and make everybody wealthier? Because when transactions are taking place, everybody's winning, everybody's growing, everybody's gaining value. Whether it's that you're producing a product or a service and I buy it from you, I'm better off because I've now got that and I value it. You're better off because you've got the dollars for it. If people choose to just sit back and go, well, I'm not going to produce, well, then they kind of deserve to be sitting there with less because you're not contributing. If the more producers we have and the more specialist those producers are, the better off everybody will be. And Ryan Moran put it into a context of the lost plane going down on a deserted island. A society is only going to function and be formed when people go out and specialise. You have someone going out hunting for meat. You have someone who knows how to build the fire. You have someone who knows how to build the houses, and collectively that community is going to thrive. Whereas if all the food was just thrown into a pot, it really would be like the Hunger Games. So I just thought I'd share that. If you're struggling to be happy for other people succeeding when you're trying to succeed yourself, your unique specialist product, even if it's very similar to somebody else's, someone out there might well buy both because they value your perspective, your take, your slight tweak on it. Richard Branson always talks about seeing other products and just doing it slightly differently, or in his book, better. There's plenty of abundance out there for you to have yours as well. So I hope that's helpful. Picture your magic floor filling up with dollar bills. Picture inviting all your friends over to scoop up and fill their bags, and then it just keeps filling up. It was just a really good practical context for me, and I hope it helps you too. And there's other topics that I'm thinking of that can come off of this. So I look forward to seeing you in another video. Feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to ask me any questions about what I do, feel free to find me on Facebook or Instagram. And I look forward to seeing you in another video. Take care.